an iPad, a HomePod, a smart Siri home assistant. Let me repeat myself. An iPad, a HomePod, and a smart Siri assistant. These aren't three different products. This is supposedly Apple's brand new HomePad, which I've been seeing all over the rumor mills lately that's supposed to be coming relatively soon. So let's talk about it. I've always wanted to do that. If you know, you know. So if your tech Twitter is anything like mine, I've been inundated with a ton of mock-ups of what this new HomePad is supposedly going to look like. But to contextualize this a little bit, understand why maybe Apple's going in this direction, let's talk about the current state of Apple's smart home setup. Apple's put a lot of money, investment, R&D into HomeKit, into Matter support, and into getting the best kind of smart home accessory experience into one consolidated application. There is a bunch of great smart home accessories out there already, but when it comes to consolidating them into one application, Apple, against the competitors, seems to be doing it best with their home application. If your smart home accessory does support the HomeKit application, then most people are going to gravitate towards that, and it also has a little bit more of a sense of confidence in actually getting this installed correctly, and also being able to run it long term without having any hiccups or issues. That's why that little HomeKit emblem on smart home accessories is so valuable to a lot of companies. But then outside of that, when it comes to a smart home hub, the current state of Apple's situation is that they have the HomePod, the HomePod 2, and then they also have the HomePod Mini. And then in terms of a smart home assistant, they don't really have much outside of the actual application. Yes, they have the HomePod Mini, which is relatively popular, but from a functionality standpoint, it doesn't really do much. Same thing goes with the HomePod, which is just a larger version of that HomePod Mini. And then some people could argue, and I argue that as well, that the actual Apple TV 4K is a great home hub in order to be able to access a lot of your smart home controls directly from your TV or whatever it's plugged into. But those are the real only pieces of hardware that are very home-centric that you can point to. And then again, while the HomePod and the HomePod Mini are great speakers for the size and what they can do and being able to set up stereo sound and things like that, when it comes to being a smart home assistant, it is very limited. Yes, you can give it one-time commands, be able to kind of change the lights or the temperature, but even then, it isn't very confidence-inducing, number one. Number two, there isn't really a display on there. Yes, there's a little bit of a display on the top, but that's just kind of to let you know that you are interacting and that it can hear you. Sorry to those people that I'm activating Siri for, I apologize in advance. But outside of that, there isn't much interaction that you can do with the HomePod aside from giving those one-time commands and using it as a Bluetooth speaker. So in steps this HomePad that Apple seems to be working on, which has been all over my Twitter feed like I mentioned earlier. And the idea here is that it's going to be all three into one. So it's going to be the best of the best that comes from a HomePod, which is going to be the speaker system, the bass that it gets, the sound quality that you get out of such a small device. We're not 100% sure what size it's going to be, but I do believe it's going to be closer to the HomePod size, maybe a little bit shrunken down, but kind of that same width, as opposed to being the size of a HomePod Mini. But then on top of that, we're going to get an actual display. And this is what's going to be so important because while yes, you can use an Apple TV 4K as a smart home hub, especially from a visual standpoint, when you have maybe your camera set up in the house and being able to unlock and lock your door and changing the temperature and just getting notifications in general, it's great to have a dedicated spot for that to happen because again, with the Apple TV 4K, you're going to have your TV on at all times, and that's something that not a lot of people are willing to do. And then you have the whole utility cost when it comes to using the electricity that comes with it. So again, most people turn off their TVs when they're not watching it. And being able to have a reactive and ambient display in your home to control everything is going to be something that a lot of people want, including myself. So in terms of what we're going to get, we are going to get the HomePod base, and then you're going to have an iPad mini-like, but a little bit more on the square side display. People are saying in terms of the rumors that it's going to be a 7-inch display diagonally, but again, a little bit more square-like, and it's going to be basically two iPhone Pro Maxes put side by side. That's going to give us a brand new HomeOS as well, which is going to be very similar to what we already see inside the home application. There are also two versions of this HomePod kind of rumored. One that's going to be a standalone product that's going to be able to sit on a shelf or in your kitchen or anywhere like that, but then also one that's going to be wall mountable. It's going to be pretty much the same exact experience. One is going to be a different form factor than the other. And of course, it should have a built-in webcam that should give us some kind of home intercom capability from a video standpoint as well. But then again, let's talk about HomeOS, which is going to be Apple's newest software. This is probably going to be HomeOS 27 or HomeOS 26, depending on when it comes out. And it's expected to run this as a dedicated OS. Again, it's going to take a lot of inspiration from the home application, and it's going to kind of work in sync with the home application, but it's going to be built for this brand new form factor, for this brand new display, and it's going to have kind of its own operating system, and there's going to be applications built for HomeOS you'll be able to download, and we're not sure if it's going to be a downloaded situation similar to the Apple Watch, where you have to kind of go into the Watch application to manage all the applications on there. But I do believe it's going to be some sort of combination of the Home application and the Apple Watch OS or Watch OS, and kind of combining those together, where there's going to be complications and setups. Almost, again, kind of like standby mode is right now, where it is set up kind of like an Apple Watch home interface, but it's going to be a little bit bigger and, of course, be built for a larger display. So from here, you're going to be able to do everything that you want to do from a home-based situation. So you're going to be able to see your video feeds, be able to unlock and lock your doors, change the thermostat, turn on lights, set scenes, turn off rooms, use it as a video intercom and also as an audio intercom, which is right now what current HomePod minis and HomePods can do. It'll also sync with your Apple ID, so you'll be able to get your notifications, and it'll sync with your notes and your reminders. Applications that really have to do with that type of situation, where it's going to be reminding you of your groceries, whenever you need to maybe check your notes, or maybe you're getting an email from a significant other to remind you to do something. So the things that kind of belong in the home will be accessible via the HomePod, and it'll sync across all of your devices. I am curious to see how they're going to deal with the fact that multiple people and multiple Apple IDs should be and will be using this HomePod hub or this HomePad as their main kind of situation at home, because again, myself and my wife have different Apple IDs, and we're both going to want to use this thing at the same time. So I wonder how notifications and app syncing is going to work across these. Maybe there'll be some sort of combination. I know right now with current HomePods, it's synced to one person's Apple ID, but it will recognize other voices, knowing that it's not me speaking, but it's probably my wife or maybe my daughter or something along those lines. So I'm definitely excited to see what this is going to look like. And in terms of timing, it was originally slated to come out at the end of 2025 this year, but it has been pushed back to 2026. And it's not due to the hardware or even the software. It's actually due to Siri, because again, there are talks between Google Gemini and Apple and Siri and combining them and what that looks like. And I'm sure that's a big proponent of what's going on here, because we need this Siri to be able to do more than what the current Siri does from a smart home application standpoint. So definitely keep that in mind, that I believe that's what's kind of delaying this new HomePad. It's not the hardware or the software, it's Siri not being up to par to what Apple wants it to be, and all these talks between Google and Apple kind of converging from a smart assistant standpoint. And who knows, maybe Siri will support Google Gemini, it will support ChatGPT, maybe we'll get rid of Siri altogether. I'm curious to see exactly how Apple kind of puts this from a smart home assistant standpoint, because the hardware should be great and the software should be great. Siri seems to be the only big question mark. And then one thing that has been confirmed is that this is not going to be a removable tablet. This is going to be a standalone product that's going to be all stuck together at all times. So do keep that in mind when it comes to it's not going to be like that Google Home situation where it was a tablet that you could remove off a speaker and vice versa. So that's just something to take note of. But let me know in the comment down below what you think. I think it's going to be priced at $199, maybe $299 at the most. Always curious to know what your guys' thoughts are. What price point is going to entice you to get it? If this thing ends up being $300 or $400, is it going to be worth it to you as a smart home user? It really depends on how you set up your smart home and how much of a power user you are. But let me know in the comment down below what you think. Are you excited for an Apple Home Hub? Are you excited that it's coming? Do you think it's coming in 2026? Always curious to know your thoughts. But if you made it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below so I know you made it to the end. And if you want to watch more videos like this one, definitely check out one of these videos right here. Until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace, everyone.